We fell together on the sheet spread on the ground, her breathing synchronizing with mine. The two of us entwined in the quiet night, giving each other the most wonderful, sublime emotions. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our channel, where we will bring you the most interesting and dramatic stories in life. It will take the audience from one surprise to another. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. In today's video, we will bring you the secret story with Mrs. Audrey. Please watch. Miss Audrey is a neighbor. She is about 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. A few years ago, I went to her house to play in the summer. All her daughters were home. Aurora and Ava were on summer vacation, so her house was crowded. Aurora is 2 years younger than me, and Ava is Aurora's younger sister. She goes to college in the province, so she comes home often. She also has 2 other children, one in 10th grade, the other in 6th grade. Her husband works far away, so she stays home to take care of the farm work. This summer, a few children came home, so I often went to her house to play. We sat at her house and chatted for a while. Then she told the kids to bring out black bean sweet soup to eat for fun. Of course, I got to eat a few cups. While we were chatting, Aurora said, "In Saigon, why don't you come to my place to play so often?" I said, "You guys are so busy. You guys go out with girls, so how can you have free time to come to our place and play around like that? If you're free, why don't you go for a coffee, a dimly lit coffee? I'm suspicious of you guys." Hearing that, Miss Audrey added a few jokes. "A dimly lit coffee is a hug coffee?" "Yes, ma'am," Aurora and Ava explained. "Those dark coffee shops in the city." Miss Audrey continued, "So they call it dim without electricity?" Aurora and Ava explained, "It's a coffee shop where they use flashing lights. You can't see anything inside. It's pitch black with female attendants." Oh my, I saw TV talking about those shops on a security program. In my village, some friend said that her husband came back from work in the city. Keep talking about coffee hugging, dry stir-frying or something. We all giggled while explaining to Audrey about coffee hugs. Everyone laughed. I teased her. "Looks like you're staying home, you're working far away, and you're also drinking coffee and drinking beer. Let him be. He can go if he wants. But those waitresses are young. They don't like old farmers who live in the countryside like us." We laughed while eating, telling her stories we had read in books and newspapers. There were young and beautiful flight attendants, old flight attendants, and young flight attendants. She kept asking questions, answering while eating. We said the older flight attendants, around 40 to 50 years old, served people with little money, old people, and poor finances. "You don't know that, Mom," said Audrey. "Really? You guys who go to school know a lot. How would I know if I was from the countryside?" "Young men look for young girls, old men look for old girls?" she asked. "Something like that," I replied. "But sometimes young men who work for little money still go to old women." "You're so free, where else would you be free? Every night I go to my friend's place that sells clothes on the street. There are many coffee shops across the street. I saw them, and that's why I found out," I said. "Your friend sells clothes?" Aurora asked. I had to say yes. Audrey asked me, "Does that place sell a lot of women's clothes?" "Is it cheap?" I said, "They're cheap. Most of them are new, but they make them out of fashion, so they sell them at a low price. There's a shirt like the one you're wearing. It's tight and made of elastic." Aurora said, "There's a lot, Mom. What do you ask for when you have it?" Then she and Ava asked what they were doing in the city. I said that I finished school a long time ago and the salary is too low. Now it's summer, so I should go back to my hometown for a few months, wait until after Tet, and then think about it. I asked them if they had graduated yet. Aurora said she had been working for a year since graduating, but the salary was low, so she quit and went back to her hometown to wait for more than a month, then went to Saigon to work for insurance money, then went back to her hometown to work. Ava went to college to wait for her diploma, so she also stayed home. After sitting around for a while, it was already dark. Her children went to take a bath while she sat watching TV. After a while, I went to her well, and after a long wait, I finally got the drain unclogged. In my hometown, the well and bathroom are outside the corner of the house. I went there intending to pee, but when I got there, Ava was taking a bath. When she heard me outside, she said, "Hey, I'm taking a bath. Go pee outside." I went back in to find a place to pee, but behind me, right behind the porch, was the house across from me. I heard a voice say, "Ava is taking a bath outside the well. If you're too sad, you can relieve yourself in the banana bushes over there." It turned out to be Audrey. I was embarrassed, but I still watered the banana bushes to make sure they were good. Audrey was still standing behind me just a few meters away. When I finished, I asked her, "You scared me? What did you do? Did you change your jacket and go take a shower? Do you know where to buy work clothes or cool summer clothes? Are there any in town?" "I know, but I'm not quite satisfied. Do you like them long or short, thick or thin?" "Here, about this size," she said, then showed me the distance between short and long. "I'll show you how cool clothes should be with a loose neckline." She gestured with her hand to her collar. I also gave my opinion, so I accidentally pointed and was startled. She said, "It's okay. It's like she's my child, so there's nothing wrong with that." A moment later, I said goodbye to her and left. She asked, "Why did you come back so early? Why didn't you stay longer?" "I came home to take a bath, eat dinner, and watch TV." At 9 o'clock at night, I went to the field to drain the water. In my hometown, there is water for soup, but in my area, there is not yet any. We only use a corrugated iron trough across a small stream to get water for soup on the other side of the field. So the fields where I want water have to go there to bring water back. Today is my turn. This afternoon, you also drained it. Maybe one field is almost finished and there is another field. I plan to go there later to drain it. If you want to go, let me go with you. Yes, it's after 9 o'clock, okay? We're going too early. On the other side, they're blocking the water, so there's nothing to drain. Okay, then wait until the moon rises and then go clearly. If you go too early, you won't be able to see the path and you'll fall into the stream. So when you go, come up and tell me. I went home, took a shower, ate dinner, and watched TV. At around 9 o'clock, Audrey came up and invited me to go drain the water. At this time, the moon had not risen to half of the bamboo, and the two of us had to go to the field and pass through a eucalyptus forest. It took about 15 minutes to walk from my house to the field. We took advantage of the time to walk and chat. After a while, we reached the field and waded across the stream. This season, the water was low. After drawing water from the watch, the two of us led the way to the field. On my side, there was another water trough, so I drained it into my field first. Then I sat down and waited for Audrey to come. But at this time, the water was flowing strongly, so when we got to the trough in Audrey's field, it had collapsed. "Come down here and help me. What's wrong?" The trough had collapsed, so I ran over. At this time, Audrey was standing at the bottom of the stream, fixing the drum. I immediately helped. The deepest part of the stream was only a few meters, and there were places where I stood almost up to my shoulder. If I wanted the water trough to be more stable, I would need another tree, but I was supporting the trough and didn't know what to do. I told her to go to the bank and pull the tree down. Audrey hurriedly waded across, but in the dark, she couldn't tell where the water was shallow or deep, and she slipped and cried out. I quickly let go of the trough and jumped to her. The water wasn't very deep, but she hurriedly crossed the pool about as deep as her body, tripped over a tree root under the water, and fell in. I leaned out and caught her. Audrey must have been panicking, so she kept floundering in the deep water. She held on to me tightly, and I helped her to the bank, but it was too difficult, so my hand was under her armpit. I used all my strength to help her in. Oh, in this situation, and with this momentum, Miss Audrey fell on the bank, and I tripped over her and lay down, still supporting myself with my hands on the ground. Then I sat up, and we continued our work. "The water was so deep I thought I had drunk it," she said. "Luckily you were there." "It was shallow," she said. "I was panicking in the dark and fell. Did you hurt me just now?" Then it was over, and the two of us went ashore to rest for a while. "Let's push the water into the field hard and then go back to your house. If the water trough collapses again, it will be a waste of time." "Okay, let's take it slow before we go back," I replied. "Let's go up there and sit." The two of us went up to the field near the corner of the stream. Up here, on one side was the stream, on the other side was the field. Behind was a eucalyptus forest mixed with bushes. There was a wide open space. Sitting up here, looking out at the field, it was very beautiful. The moon was high, the wind was blowing cool. At this time, my aunt and I were both wet, but not cold, but felt cool. Miss Audrey took off her shirt and wrung it out. She was wet earlier. The remaining shirt clung to her body. The shirt was made of thin fabric, so I could clearly see it sticking to her skin. I looked at her while she was wringing her shirt out, occasionally seeing me looking at it, but she didn't say anything, just calmly. After a while, she said, "Aren't you going to wring your shirt out to dry? You can wash it at home and hang it up to dry. Aren't you cold?" "It's not cold. If you take your shirt off, it will feel cooler. What's so cold about it?" "Then take it off to cool down." I immediately took off my shirt and asked her, "Are you cold?" "I'm not cold." "Do you feel cool without your shirt?" She rolled up her pants above her knees and said, "It feels very cool, my dear. Yes, the wind is blowing like that, so it's very cool without a shirt." Then she said, "You feel cool, but I feel very hot. Come here, I took off my shirt, but it doesn't feel any better. This wet shirt sticks to my body, it's pale and uncomfortable. When the other shirt is dry, I'll change it and it'll be fine. Who in the world feels cool like me?" The two of them giggled again. Then she asked again about the afternoon's coffee hugs. "Are there many coffee hugs in Saigon?" "Of course. Have you ever been there?" "But what do people your age do there?" "I haven't been there, but older people like me are there too. And rich women hang out with young men, really young men." "Oh yeah," said Audrey again. "This wet shirt is so uncomfortable. I'll roll it up a bit to make it cooler." I said, "I'm doing it. Don't look at me. I'm shy. That's how cool it is. Do you think it's cool?" "You're cool, but how do I know if it's cool or not?" "Well, just look at me and you'll know," Miss Audrey said as she deliberately showed off something. Just now, the hem of her dress was fluttering in the wind, and now, with her support, there was something vague under the moonlight. Miss Audrey rolled up her trouser leg again, twisting it like a spring to its maximum, as if it were very hot. I still watched every action, and even though she knew I was watching, she still did it on purpose. To put it tactfully, she did it on purpose to show me. "Aren't you afraid of mosquitoes biting you when you roll up your clothes like that?" "How can the wind bite me? You're not even wearing a shirt like that, let alone me. It'll only sting you." Miss Audrey smiled at me and continued, "If she were like you, she wouldn't be afraid of mosquitoes, but she'd be afraid of me." "Are you embarrassed?" "No, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. I'm just cool." Miss Audrey looked at me intently and silently for a moment, then she put her hand on my shoulder and said, "Your skin is really cool." I was confused. "Oh, it's because of the wind in the water just now, so it's cool." "Then why do you feel so hot? If you don't believe me, check it out and let me know." "I feel cool, but I'm not hot at all, right?" "You're really hot, but here, are you hot?" "I'm fine." "So it's not hot anymore, you're just teasing me." "What? It's cool, but I'm not hot at all." "Oh, it's me. Why are you here?" "See, I'm so hot." "You're hot, but it's better now. Have you never seen a woman or something that makes you so shy?" I laughed and said, "I've seen it, but no one in this world is like this. I'm so shy. Besides, I've never been with an older woman like you." "I didn't know, but now I know. Oh, here, I fell down just now, and it hurts so much. Help me fix this leg." I was shy and didn't dare to face her advances, not because I was a coward, but just because I wondered if it was okay or not. After all, men and women are different. There needs to be a distance. But Miss Audrey at this time was both suggestive and hesitant. I was embarrassed, so I was very curious, wondering what women were like, whether they were like what I thought or imagined. "What's with all this shaking? I'm so sore. I can't help with just this small thing. Is it okay, miss?" "No, it's a long way off." "Hey, we're students, but does anyone know?" "No one knows, my dear. There are only two of us here, and it's so dark. I haven't understood what you mean, and you have to say it out loud. I'm so embarrassed. I'm so nervous." "What are you shaking for? Tell me if you're quick. I'm going crazy." An hour passed. I was exhausted, unable to stand. Okay, okay, get dressed quickly, it's late, it's almost 11 o'clock. The two of us quickly got our clothes and went home. On the way home, she kept saying how skillful I was. She walked close to me and kept praising me. You look so good, don't you? Me too. When we were almost home, I said goodbye to her. Let's continue draining water another day. I said yes, and went inside. This time, I felt really refreshed. A few days ago, after lunch, I went to Audrey's house to play. Audrey was watching TV with her children and cleaning the house. Then Aurora went to town for something and Ava was cleaning. I went inside and sat down with Audrey. Looking at me, Audrey kept smiling. Mom, burn all of Dad's old papers. You burn them and leave them lying around. There are some broken CDs that Dad left in the room. Should I throw them away? Let's see what they are. If they can be read, then keep them. If they can't be read, then throw them away, Ava. At this moment, looking at Audrey as calmly as usual, as if she and I had nothing to do yesterday, I felt more comfortable. In the room, Ava looked at and threw away some music discs. She brought out a few and said, "The others are broken and too old. These are new. I don't know if they can be played anymore." "Play them and see if they work, then throw them away," Audrey replied. Ava brought them out. I saw 3 brand new discs. She went in and I picked them up to see if there was a Kwang Lei music disc. Audrey put them in the player to watch. I continued to watch the remaining 2. One was also a music disc. The other disc had a cover that said it was a music disc, but the disc itself wasn't. I saw a large picture of 2 people on it. Oh, yes, there was. A boy and a girl on the disc that said it was an Asian movie. I saw it and my face got hot. I showed it to Audrey to look at and then went out pretending to go to the bathroom. When I finished, I had just entered the house when she put the disc back in to watch. The image in the movie was of a woman about 30 years old. Audrey kept her eyes glued to it. As I looked at the image on the screen, coincidentally next to the wardrobe door there was a glass panel. I saw right at the bedroom door, Ava also glued her eyes to observe. Miss Audrey was sitting a little closer to me. Ava's bedroom door couldn't see me and her because the curtain was covering it. Miss Audrey looked at me and whispered, "This movie is really cool, my dear." "Oh, Aurora, how did you know about this genre? You guys have collected a lot of it. Look over there, look and learn." I looked for a while, then stood up, walked out to go to the bathroom again. Accidentally, Ava also went out there without paying attention. The two of us bumped into each other. Ava seemed to be upset, her legs crossed. Brother, go out. What are you doing? Are you done cleaning up?" "Almost done, Miss." Audrey's voice echoed out. "Get it done, Ava." "I'm cleaning." I walked over to Audrey. Audrey stood up. "Hey, Ava." She saw. "No. She cleaned her room and there's the curtain she can't see." "How can they be like that in movies? Can I be like that?" "In movies, it's just like in real life. We keep complaining about this and that, but they pamper us a lot," Audrey said, sounding knowledgeable. "Do you want to try? Is that okay?" "But I'm scared of Ava." So Audrey and I were having an affair. I occasionally glanced through the mirror and saw Ava's eyes wide open. A thunderstorm was coming, and the sky was a bit dark. Raindrops were falling heavily on the garden. I whispered to Audrey, "I'll go out for a bit." Ava was standing right at the door of the room. When she heard me, she was startled and went into the room, bumping into a pile of old books, which knocked over. I went in to help her put the table back. The table had a broken leg and had to be put back, so I eagerly helped her. Ava's face was also red, as if she didn't know anything. I awkwardly helped, but at the moment I felt very uncomfortable. Maybe being around young women and girls made my cheeks red like that. I ran out to go to the bathroom again. It was still raining outside, but not much, so I pressed close to the sidewalk, trying to reduce the discomfort in my body. I glanced up at Ava's window and saw her cleaning up, but her eyes were still looking at me. I still ignored her. It was embarrassing to leave her like this. I walked into the living room and went to Audrey's place, sat down, and looked up at the TV screen. Ava went back to her old place and looked at the TV. At this point, she closed her eyes and started to imagine random things. Let's continue. Oh well, it's too empty here. Let's go to the corner of the room so it doesn't hide from that table. An hour passed. Ava, what a dirty movie. You don't know anything. Miss Audrey turned off the TV. I sat around for a while and then left. There were few thunderstorms, so it made the weather even hotter during the summer days. After dinner, I went for a walk to the end of the village, sat for a while at a coffee shop. After finishing my cup of coffee, I felt so sad, so I went home. It was about 8 o'clock in the evening when I passed by Miss Audrey's house. In front of her house, Audrey was standing outside the alley enjoying the cool breeze. Seeing me coming home, she said, "You're back so early?" "No, there's no one in the village. Just came home to watch a movie and go to sleep." Miss Audrey said to me again, "If you're free later, why don't you go drain the water with me?" "Of course I am. Call me when you go." I went home and thought normally. Nothing bad happened in my head. I lay down to watch TV for a while and then heard Audrey calling from outside the alley. I quickly went out. It was dark now, but the two of us still walked normally because we were familiar with the road. I said, "Did you guys know I was going to drain the water?" "Yes. Aurora is home with the kids. Ava went to an village to sleep with her grandmother." "Okay. I scared the hell out of you this afternoon." "Why did you scare the hell out of me? I was watching a movie and doing that. Ava was home too. If she saw it, it would be so embarrassing." "She didn't see me." "Why are you so worried like when we finished?" "Because your voice was so loud, it's nothing." I heard her at the door of the room and there was her voice. "I don't care. She's grown up now, so it's okay if she hasn't watched a bit yet." She and I went to drain the water. Today we drained it quickly. The water flowed stronger, so we didn't need to make any adjustments. I went with her along the edge of the rice field. Audrey said, "Hey, in the movie it's like that, that's right. There are many older women in the movie." At noon, I turned down the volume. Otherwise, I would have been so happy to hear their voices. "So, why is the actor in the movie so old?" "I'm about 40 years old, and the other guy is so young." "He's Japanese, because they like young men." "You're in Saigon, there's no shortage of them, and in coffee shops, hugging each other is a common thing." "You know too much. Have you gone to a coffee shop yet?" "I went once, but the waitresses were so old, almost 50, but very bold." "Come on, let's go up to that mound, somewhere more private." Audrey and I crossed a mound, passed the eucalyptus, and stopped at the foot of the acacia hill. Finding a clean patch of land, I fumbled around looking for leaves when Audrey said, "Well, I brought a raincoat." She spread it out on the ground. As soon as she finished spreading it out, she sat down. I sat behind her. "Come on, let's film it?" "Yes, is that okay?" It was okay with me, but I was shy at first. "What's there to be shy about now?" Audrey smiled, truly trying her best. "I worked overtime twice and still didn't get anywhere. During the summer, my work in the city didn't progress, and I didn't get any response from any job applications, so I stayed in the countryside for a few months. It's been half a month since Audrey and I started seeing each other. I was also a little busy, so I didn't stop by her house. Around mid-afternoon, I took my motorbike to town and passed by her house and saw her and Aurora going somewhere. "Where are you going today? You're going to town, my dear? Really?" "I'm going to town, too," Aurora said. "If you're going to town, take my mom with you. Why don't you go? I'll go, too. But if you're going, take my mom, too. I'll take Min, too, so it's more convenient." "What is the reason that so many people are going?" "My aunt's family is having a wedding tomorrow, so my mom and I are going to help." "Oh, so who's looking after the house and why are they all gone?" Miss Audrey said, "Ava and the youngest are at home. They won't be out until tomorrow morning." Then I drove Miss Audrey away. As we talked, Miss Audrey blamed me for not being around for the past few days, making her wait for me. I said I had something to do in town. Her family and I went to the market to buy things. Miss Audrey asked me when I would be home. I said it would probably be late in the evening. She asked me to bring some things home to give to Ava. It was raining when I got home in the evening, so I walked slowly. When we got home, Ava had already come out to get her things. "Are you going home? Are you staying tomorrow?" "Yes, I will stay tomorrow." "Have you eaten yet?" "Ava, no. Wait for me to come home and eat," Ava said and smiled. "Are you going to wait for me to take a shower?" I joked, "Maybe so. Go home first and then come down to my house to play. It's so sad to be home alone. What's there to be sad about when you have the youngest child at home? He goes to sleep right after dinner. He hasn't stayed up late yet, so why wouldn't he be sad? Okay, I'll be down later, but if it rains, I'll go home. It was raining heavily. I quickly ate a bowl of rice and looked at the clock. It was 8 o'clock in the evening. I drove quickly to Audrey's house. It was raining so hard I was going to call the gate, but Ava's gate was unlocked. Entering the yard, the dogs didn't bark because I knew them. I looked into the living room and saw Ava sitting alone watching TV. Oh my God, she turned on the movie from the other day again. I saw her imitating a woman, but could it be I was standing in the rain looking at her like that and calling her? I immediately kicked the dog and she barked loudly. Ava immediately turned on the TV to another mode. Under the light bulb, I saw her face was red. You just came down. Yes, you just came down. I was going to stay home because it was raining, but I was also bored, so I came down to play at your house. Come in. It's fun having you. Do you have water? Can I have a glass? I'll go get it. She went downstairs and got the water and brought it with her. I went to the bathroom to pee and then came out. He stood by the side holding a glass of water and said, "It's me, Ava. Does your voice sound sweet today? Is it sweet?" I held the glass of water and drank it and said, "It's very sweet. This cup of tea smells so good. It smells like my cheeks. Oh my God, this tea smells like my cheeks. How could you know if it smells good?" You can tell by looking. Ava raised her eyebrows and then looked at me. You can tell by looking? Then just look. I immediately replied, "Hey, are you always teasing me like that? I'll light it again and you'll say, 'Oh my God.'" The two of us teased each other and then went to the living room. He locked the gate. The two of us sat watching TV. Great, you have built a very detailed and vivid story. To make the story more perfect, I would like to edit some minor spelling and grammar errors. The paragraph after correction. Aren't you going out with your lover? There's no need to go, just stay home and play with me. Oh my God, today you and I, Duong, sound so sweet. Ava, you are older than me, so if I don't call you brother, what should I call you? Turn on some music, uncle, but there's no CD. Do you have a movie? Is it a good movie? It's just an old movie. You can watch it or listen to some music. There's no movies on TV today. It's so boring. I took the remote and turned it on. The movie Ava was watching earlier appeared on the TV. She must have forgotten to turn off the DVD player. The image appeared. Oh my God, I thought it was something. Wow, you're so bold. Watching it alone? No, someone opened it and left it there. I didn't open it. He answered with a calm face, different from his red face earlier. Now it was different, still calm. Looking at Ava's face right now, I suddenly felt so annoyed. Don't lie. Remember, Ava, if you opened it, tell me. Who came in here and opened it? Yeah, really, who opened it? Maybe when I turned on the TV, I accidentally touched the remote control and it turned on by itself. He said that, but I already knew. At this time, Ava was wearing a thin silk dress, like a nightgown but homemade, nothing fancy. She also had fair skin like her mother. Her face was also easy to look at, although her nose was not high, but her skin was very white. Her pink lips were slightly plump, especially her wet eyes, occasionally glancing sideways, looking teasing. That wasp-waisted figure. The old people used to say, today she had Ava lightly highlighting her. This girl was so graceful. She had blush on her cheeks, so I just noticed her lips were painted with a bit of red lipstick, so it looked very natural. At this time, she was sitting on one side with her legs crossed, the thin flap of her shirt fluttering in the wind of the fan. Anyone can open it? If they have it, they can see it. It's okay. We're all grown up. Gosh, a man and a woman watching is so embarrassing. He laughed heartily. You're shy too. Do you dare to look now if you open it? Dare? What are you afraid of? I'm just afraid that you won't dare. It curled its lips. I'll open it. It opened it again. I said, the youngest child will find it annoying. He told me to go to sleep. He sleeps in the room downstairs. How would I know? We watched for about 5 minutes until we got to that awkward scene. Then I said, "Why is Ava doing makeup at night today?" "You can tell by the way Ava does, she knows how to make herself look pretty." "Who are you meeting Ava for? Really?" She stroked her hair and said, "Ava is just hanging out. We're not dating. If you find it beautiful, just look at it freely." "Is this your first time watching a movie, Ava?" "Is this your first time?" "Yeah," I chuckled and teased him. "It's your first time. You don't believe it? You don't believe it. Where else did you see it? You saw it here, where else? You never deny it. The other day I was cleaning the room and you turned on the movie." "No, it's not like the sky is open. You and your mom watched it for a long time." How could I know that at this point I had nothing left to deny? How could I not know that you saw it too? I immediately defended myself. "Oh my God, didn't you see me watching? I was standing right in front of the window watching, and I saw everything." She blushed again, but her face brightened as she looked at me. "You saw me right. I know you, and I'm watching a movie tomorrow. I saw you and your mother." "What do you mean?" "Don't deny me anymore. You two think I don't know anything? Really? I think you're just like in the movies." "Okay, I won't deny it, so don't deny it either." Both of you laughed heartily. Just like that, "Why are you still being so secretive? If you reveal it again, I'll show you. Do you dare now?" "Hey, hey, because you're so beautiful tonight, my neighbor looks so cute." "Really? Are you as pretty as the actress in the movie?" "Oh my gosh, you're better than him. You're 10 to 20 times better than him in every way." "There is no such place. Don't even look. What do you think? That's how I am. I'll give it to you, like in the movies. Is that okay?" "Okay, but you have to wait for me a moment." "You're brave? What guts? By the way, have you locked the gate? Close the door downstairs in case the youngest child comes up unexpectedly." "Don't worry." So I had that God-given happiness. The two of us slept until 4 in the morning, then I snuck home. "I'm going home. I'm going home. Come over when you're free and no one's home." I went home to sleep again. I hadn't slept much all night. My eyes were heavy. The next day, Aurora and Ava went to town to play at their grandparents' house. Only Aunt Audrey was home. I passed by her house, and when she saw me, she asked, "Why haven't you come over to visit these past few days?" "I'm busy," she said. "If you have free time in the evening, come over. I'm bored at home alone." "Yes, but I'll be home very late. If anything happens, I'll open the door." "Okay, when you get home, call me and I'll open the door for you." It wasn't too late when I got home from playing, but it was already 9 o'clock at night. It was drizzling. I had many friends in my hometown, so when I went out or visited their houses, I usually slept over. I could go home in the morning, but today I didn't sleep over and went back. The drizzling rain had soaked my shirt. "Auntie Audrey, are you still awake? Open the door for me." Her house was still lit. I heard her reply, "I haven't locked the gate yet. Come in and unlock it." I closed the gate and entered the house. Miss Audrey was lying on the bed watching TV. Seeing me wet, she said, "Let's go take a shower." "You can take a shower later." "Are you watching a movie?" "I'm watching a movie, but this one is so boring." "There's no good movie to watch." I laughed and said, "You don't like this movie? There are so many good movies on TV. Why don't you watch them? Watch a dark movie instead." "Yeah, that's it. Let me find out where I put it." She went to look. I felt uncomfortable because of the rain, so I went into her bathroom and took a shower. After entering the house, Miss Audrey saw that the DVD was already open. "Have you taken a shower?" "Yes." "Go watch a movie." "Yes. If you want to watch it, then watch it with me." Miss Audrey leaned into my ear and whispered, "There's no one at home today. You stay and sleep with me." I hesitated. She continued, "Go back to sleep. Let's watch a movie together so it's fun for the two of us." The two of them watched a movie for a while without much interest. She went to the kitchen and said she was going to make some tea. "You and I can drink together. What's with water? Watching movies is more fun with water. Tonight, you and I will enjoy each other." Miss Audrey looked at me and smiled. I said, "Let me help you make lemonade." She and I went to the kitchen to make water. I opened the refrigerator and saw ice. I took a small piece of ice and stood behind her, putting it on her back, making her startled. Oh my gosh, it's so cold. I saw a can of Hanoi beer in the refrigerator. I picked it up and said, "Do you have this can of beer?" "Take it and drink it." I stood behind her, leaned in and whispered in her ear, "If I drink, you have to drink too. It's more fun when you two drink. This guy, he's already strange. You'll know what I'm capable of." "How would I know? Let's go upstairs and watch a movie. Your face is red after drinking with me." "Are you drunk?" "Not that drunk, but the beer makes me feel hot, honey." "Are you drunk?" "I have you, but only a little. I can't drink beer or wine." Under the neon lights, her face was flushed tonight. Miss Audrey was wearing a pair of above-the-knee pants. "We're not going out in the fields today. Staying at home like this is comfortable enough for me to stay up early." "Oh, is there anyone home?" "There's no one. Everyone's gone. Let's relax." She got up early at 5 o'clock in the morning. I also got up and followed her to the kitchen. She was cooking pig feed. I sat to one side to take advantage of the opportunity. Okay, it's almost morning. Let's go home." I left at 6 o'clock in the morning. For the next few days, I didn't go to her house or pass by the alley, so there was no more sneaking around. It was partly because Audrey's husband came home from work and the children were always at home. I thought, that's fine. I don't think about it anymore. About a month later, her husband went back to work and she and her children stayed at home. Sometimes I wanted to go down to visit, and my eyes occasionally glanced at her and Ava, which made me feel impatient. Then one day, Aurora, her eldest daughter, went to the city for some work. She said she was going there to do some insurance paperwork. She took her 2 children to Saigon for a week because her husband was there. At home, there were only Audrey and Ava. At that time, I often went down to her house to visit. Audrey seemed to want to be close to me, but Ava kept scrutinizing me, so I didn't have much chance. One evening, I passed by the house and saw Ava standing in the yard, all dressed up. When she saw me passing by, she asked, "What are you going to do?" "Just going for a walk and then going home to sleep." "What are you doing dressed up like that?" "A high school friend invited me to go out for coffee." "Are you going?" "No, I'm tired. Just going for a walk and then going home to sleep." After a while of talking, her friend came. Her friend said, "Your house has a very difficult road. There are some fields that are about to collapse." Ava said, "You can call me from the main road. I can walk down." Then the 2 of us went out to play. I also went for a walk down to the village below, sat and played with some young friends, and then went home. On the way home, I sang while walking, passing by Audrey's house. She heard me calling, "Honey, are you home from playing?" "Miss, aren't you asleep yet?" "It's still early. Why are you sleeping? Come in and play." I refused and was about to leave when she said, "Come in." "Oh, why are you coming home so early? I'm so bored at home alone." "Come in and play." I reluctantly went into her house to watch TV for a while. Looking at the clock, it was almost 9 o'clock. I was about to leave when she stopped me. "You're home so early, take your time and go home." I had to sit for a while longer. "Has Ava come home from playing yet?" "Yes, she hasn't come home yet." "How do you know he's going out?" "I saw him telling his friend he was going out earlier." Miss Audrey, who was sitting next to me, said, "I've been so sad not seeing you for a month. What's the point of not seeing you? It's not about that or that." I sat there saying nothing. Miss Audrey took the initiative. "Let's get intimate." "Oh, miss, it's late. If Ava comes back, we're finished. When she comes back, I heard her friend's motorbike. She comes home very late." She said that, and her hands and feet kept staggering. I joked, "You haven't been home with me for a whole month?" "Yes, but how much strength do you have? You've been working for months and you're tired and only have me." "Hey, don't let Ava come back. Let's go down to the kitchen." "If you're shy, I'll take you to the kitchen and then to the outside house. There's a kitchen outside. I used to use it to burn firewood. But now I don't use it anymore. And instead put a bamboo bed right there for you to take a nap. There's light from the window in front, so sitting outside I can clearly see the bed and the pigsty in the distance. Come on, hurry up and bring the clothes, we'll make it quick. The bamboo bed started to creak. I gradually became confused, and Miss Audrey was in such a hurry that it was like she was being chased by a ghost. I also hurriedly grabbed my clothes and went into the house before her. She went in later, and then I asked permission to leave. When I reached the gate, I immediately met Ava. She seemed uncomfortable. Just got home, Ava. Yes, I just got home. Are you going home? Yes, I'm going home. The next day, I still went to Audrey's house to play as usual, but there was something very awkward about it. Every time I saw Audrey and Ava, Ava's naturalness towards me was gone. I don't know why. Do you know? She was very confused when Audrey and I talked to each other, but on the contrary, when talking to me, she often joked, very open and not shy at all. One evening in August, probably around the Mid-Autumn Festival, the children were preparing to go out to play Mid-Autumn Festival in the neighborhood. Aunt Audrey and her 3 children were at home. Taking advantage of the full moon, Aunt Audrey told her to cut the cassava into small pieces and dry them in front of the house. There was a pile of cassava. She and the children finished making it. When they were done, Aurora took the car to the public performance venue while Ava and her sisters stayed home. Ava didn't go out, but stayed home to help Aunt Audrey peel the cassava. At that time, I went downstairs to play. The cassava was almost gone, but it was still early. Aunt Audrey had just gone out to pull some more to slice. I saw that, so I helped her a little. Her garden was very large. Behind the house was a banana garden, and outside the banana garden was a row of unfinished cassava. After she finished pulling, Ava said that the knife for cutting cassava was broken and she had to borrow it. But there was no one in the neighborhood to borrow it from, so she had to go to her uncle's house at the end of the village to borrow it. Aunt Audrey told her to go. He took out his bike and just finished riding. I also pulled up a few more cassava bushes. While pulling, Audrey and I often joked, although not too much, but there was some naughtiness in it. Exploding cassava is not that difficult, but she and I happily chatted. Audrey started talking about the cassava root. She was so happy. She was happy, but I was very tired. When I pulled out the cassava root that was within reach but very veiny, Audrey said, "That is a cassava root with veins. All men have cassava roots with veins. Many people have less veins, but I have all veins, my dear. When they get angry, they are all veiny. The only difference is the size and length." When saying that, everyone understood, because cassava is familiar. So when she said it, both she and I laughed out loud. When she gathered the roots to put in the sack, she picked them up and teased, "Here, this is yours." I also laughed when I finished gathering them. She said, "Let's rest a bit. Then Ava will bring the knife back to slice them thinly." This was probably a good opportunity for me and her to sit down and rest. She seemed to wink at me. "What kind of man is this? Who can stand you like this?" Her metaphorical way of speaking made me have to join in. "Who else can stand it?" Audrey laughed. "Want to know if I can stand it? Of course. But how do you know what I'm like? Why are you asking? You and I go over there and sit over there." "What are you going over there for?" "Go over there. What else? Keep asking. Hey, I'll go quickly." So there was a fast train that night. She and I quickly cleaned up the cassava roots, then cleaned up the banana bushes. Ava came back with a knife and was hungry. "I borrowed a knife, Mom." "Why did you take so long, honey? Why did Audrey carry the bag of roots into the house first?" Ava and I followed behind. When we got to the yard, I joked with Ava, "Why did you take so long to borrow a knife?" "Great. You have built a very detailed and vivid story. To make the story more perfect, I would like to edit some minor spelling and grammar errors. The paragraph after correction. There are so many tubers at home, but no knife to cut them. I'll borrow the knife to cut the cassava." "I haven't borrowed a knife to cut any vegetables yet." Miss Audrey burst out laughing when she heard that. When she finished work at around 9 o'clock, Audrey said to Ava, "If you want to go see a show, then go. I'll go for a walk too." Ava and I walked into the village. On the way, we talked and joked. Then suddenly she asked me, "Why bother going to see a performance? Where else should we go? Should we just walk around the streets and then go home? Wherever you go, I'll go. Going to a performance is tiring, it's crowded, I joked. If I go into the bushes, will you follow me? Can't we? He smiled and continued. Sitting here is so boring. Why don't we go sit in the acacia forest on the hill where it's cooler? I asked. What knife did you borrow that took so long? Why did you borrow it for so long? I borrowed it to cut cassava. We continued walking for a while. I sat near him. Slow down, brother. You're already like this. Rest and regain your strength. Aren't you tired? What's there to be tired about? Just pulling up some cassava. Not tired at all. Are you serious or are you kidding me? You don't believe it. There's nothing to joke about. It didn't say anything, so sit down and try it out. I asked again, what do you want to say? It looked down at the field, where the country road ran through. At that time, there were lion dance troops of children in the village passing by. It said, if you want to talk, you have to pay 10 times more. Whatever you want me to do, I will do. Tell me, when I went to borrow a knife, were you fast at pulling cassava? Fast. When you're done, sit down and play with me. It's not true that you're lying to me. Really? Act like you don't see it? Keep denying it. I'll make you pay 10 times more, so pay. What's the big deal that you're being so vague about? You and my mom didn't have anything, did they? I saw everything. Don't try to hide it. I thought, maybe it saw me with Audrey. It must be terrible. What kind of people are they? I answered hesitantly. It's my fault, not yours. As soon as I finished speaking, he laughed and said, why are you so worried? I'm just like you. When I heard him say that, I was no longer worried. After all, I had to guard against scandals, but I was not afraid anymore, he continued. What are you two doing that is so chaotic? When I heard him say that, I asked again, so you were spying on me and Audrey? Just spy on them to see what they have going on. You're really formidable. Maybe she hasn't been intimate with her husband for a long time, you see. How could she know so well? I went out to the garden and saw you and my mother. I stayed in the coconut grove and followed the banana bushes. Sitting there, I could see everything. Great. You provided a very detailed and emotional piece of writing. Here is a spelling and grammar fix, keeping the content of your script intact. Now you pay if you want 5 or 10 times more. On the village road, there were lion dance groups, and he and I just joined in and followed. After a while, we met his sister and her younger brother in the group. Late at night, we all went home together. From that day on, Ava and I were no longer close to each other. Because a few days later, Ava was hired by his uncle's company to work as a secretary in Da Nang. I didn't see her anymore. I still contacted her by phone occasionally for fun. I had nothing to do in the countryside. I planned to go to the city, but there were still a few months left until the end of the year, so I decided to stay home. I often go to Audrey's house to play. One day, Aurora went to Da Nang, and her 2 younger siblings went to school. I stopped by. At that time, Audrey was cutting vegetables to feed the pigs. This season in the countryside often has unpredictable storms. That day was the pouring rain season. When I arrived, Audrey was sitting cutting vegetables. Her outfit was yellow, with flower patterns on the fabric. I sat on a chair drinking water. Every time Audrey bent down to cut vegetables, her wide collar peeked out, as did her pants. My God, all the sunshine and wind of a country woman made her even more beautiful. Okay, have they all gone to school? Yes, they have. They only came back this afternoon. They went to extra classes without knowing it was going to rain like this. Will they come home early? You sit and relax. Audrey and I were as calm as if nothing had happened. I sat and walked back and forth, watching her work, but we didn't say anything to each other anymore. When I sat on the chair and looked down at her collar, although I had seen it before, today I felt like I didn't want to blink. I kept looking at it for a long time, and she was startled. Hey, why are you looking so intensely? Is there something wrong with your collar? Nothing. Miss Audrey smiled and didn't reply, but every now and then she would make a few movements to adjust her collar. She continued to do it while I went around to the back. Hey, I'm cutting vegetables. If I do it like that, I'll cut my hand. I told you to take it slow. Don't be in such a hurry. I'll finish it soon. When she finished her work, she stood up to wash her hands and feet. It was raining heavily outside with little wind, and the rice fields were completely submerged. If it rained for a few more days, there might be a flood. After washing her hands and feet, she saw me standing there and said, "Hey, I'm done. Do whatever you want." Oh my gosh, it's already like this. Another day like any other, that day everyone was out. I was lying at home, half asleep, when I heard someone calling, "Honey, are you home?" I went outside to look, and it was Aunt Audrey calling. "Miss, what's up?" "No, I was just passing by the house, so I called." "Miss, would you like to come in? Everyone is home. Come in." She took off her conical hat and sighed, "What a hot weather. Teacher, there is a jar of water to wash your face and eyes." "Okay, wait for me a bit. It's so hot." "Yes, it's been a long time since I've been to your house. I just got home from work. No wonder I didn't see you." I sat there and rested for a while, then said, "Come here and sit down to cool off." I was sitting on the floor, right at the door facing the back garden. My house is very cool and windy. "Sit there. I'm lying here and haven't slept yet. Aren't you going to welcome guests?" She said that. I stood up and walked towards her. "Hey, what's going on, you guy? This lady came here to talk to you." "Wait a minute, sit down and rest. Haven't seen you much lately, huh? What's wrong?" "Then let me make it up to you. You two take advantage of all the time you have and then go to sleep." I immediately closed all the doors and lay down next to her. About an hour later, she woke up, quickly got dressed, and left immediately. Since the day Audrey stayed at my house, it has been more than 2 months now, and I have not had a chance to meet her again. Partly because I work and rarely come home. One day I came home to rest and stopped by her house to play, but she was away, so I went home. I slept all day and went out, and in the afternoon I played soccer with my friends in the neighborhood. In the evening I passed by her house again. "When did you come back?" Hearing her call, I knew right away it was Audrey. Looking into the house, I saw her and her children gathered together, sitting in the front yard. "What are you doing sweating like that? When did you come back?" "I came back today. I was sweating from playing soccer." "Where did your family go today? To a funeral?" Ava said, "Long time no see." I asked them, "When do you start work?" "Leaving early tomorrow morning and coming back on the weekend." Aurora said to her mother, "Mom, are you going up the mountain tomorrow?" "Yes, tomorrow I'll go to bed and gather firewood and see how the cassava is doing. I'm also planning to find a few bundles of firewood to bring home in case I need to cook ban chung for Tet. There's still almost 2 months until we have firewood to cook with." "Yes, Mom. Tomorrow will probably be sunny, so let's take advantage of it and collect some firewood. I'm at work, so I won't be able to chop wood." That said, there are still many houses. Tomorrow, I will come and trim the trees and check our row of houses again. Great. You provided a very lively and detailed piece of writing. Here is a spelling and grammar fix, keeping the content of your script intact. I immediately said, "Wow, your house is big. I heard about it but didn't know. If you have free time tomorrow, go up there to play. If you like bonsai, go up there and dig some up." Let me see. "Do you have anything to do tomorrow? Can we go by motorbike?" "Yes, we can go by motorbike and then walk up." I went home to prepare the support, the basket, and the saw to go to the field with Audrey tomorrow. The next morning, I rode my motorbike to Audrey's house. Her children had already gone to work. "Why don't you leave your motorbike at home and just go by motorbike?" "No, I'm still carrying firewood. I'm just pruning the branches. There's no shortage of firewood in the house." "You're not coming back yet, or are you coming back in the afternoon? If you come back in the afternoon, you'll be hungry." "I'll cook sticky rice with beans and some other food, pack it up and bring only drinks." Then she and I got in a car and went up the mountain. It took about half an hour to get there from my house because it was a dirt road. I drove through several eucalyptus hills, then passed through an ethnic village. After passing through the ethnic village, I asked again, "How far is it, Auntie?" "Over another river, dear. It's a bit far, but where did we put our motorbike?" "Just drive across the river and I'll show you." After running another 2 kilometers, I reached the riverbank. I immediately ran across. Oh my, the river water is cool. It must be great to bathe like this, right? Okay, let's go. Running across the river for another 1 kilometers, both sides were full of regenerated forests and acacia trees planted by the ethnic people, then running into a small slope to go up the mountain. When we reached the bushes, she told me to back the car in there to avoid the sun. Holding our belongings in hand, she and I followed the forest for a while until we reached the field. Is this your field? That's your field. Up above is the forest, on the right is the ethnic field, and on the left is the stream. The forests that we crossed the river earlier belong to the people below us. Why hasn't anyone come up here to work, ma'am? No one, my dear. I just came up to see the cassava and try planting some trees. It's so deserted. Looking down from here to the ethnic village, it seems so far away. Go find some scenery. Miss Audrey looked at the range while I searched for about half an hour and then returned to Miss Audrey. At this time, the sun was high, a bit hot, but thanks to the tall trees, the wind also cooled the heat of this season. I couldn't find her, so I followed the stream bank up. About a few dozen meters, ignoring the rocks, I looked up and saw a small waterfall. Thinking that there must be Audrey maple flowers here, I followed the stream up here. It was a forest about 100 meters from Miss Audrey's range. I heard something under the waterfall. This waterfall wasn't big, but still flowed strongly along the small path. I looked down and saw Miss Audrey down there. Miss Audrey was bathing in the stream, wearing all her clothes. I immediately called out, "You're bathing here, but I thought you were going somewhere." Miss Audrey looked up and saw me. She said, "It was so hot earlier, so I went to take a shower. Would you like to come down and take a shower? Come down here and take a shower." I also did the same as her, bathing with my clothes on, but I still intentionally left my shorts on the shore. "The water is so cool, ma'am, so cool." "Where will you get clothes to wear after bathing like that?" "We'll hang them up to dry later. The sun and wind here dry them quickly." "Ma'am, the scenery here is beautiful." "What's so cool or cool? You already know. Why are you asking?" So we took advantage of this place. Maybe because we were hungry and tired, my aunt and I had a delicious lunch. After eating, the sun was high in the sky, sunny, but occasionally there were a few dark clouds flying by. Because it was high up, the wind made us sleepy. At this time, the sound of birds chirping in the forest rang out, and the sound of the stream flowing like a melody echoed in the mountains and forests. We searched for a place to sleep, but couldn't find one because it was on the mountain range, not like at home, all rocks and little shade. I sat against a tree to rest. "Let's go up to the waterfall to rest. It's very sunny here." She and I climbed up the stream bank. Climbing was a bit tiring. When we reached the place up here, the shade of the trees also partially covered the waterfall. Looking down from above, the scenery is breathtaking. On both sides are green forests. The sound of birds is like the sound of flutes, and the sound of war drums is resounding. It is truly a beautiful landscape. "Oh my God, I am so tired that I can't breathe." Miss Audrey said so, and then she dipped her face into the water to wash it. Then she lay down to rest on the biggest rock. I also splashed in the water for fun. Lying next to her made me feel much better, but I couldn't close my eyes. After lying down for a while, I thought to myself, maybe it's because I'm lying next to a woman? Miss Audrey was still sleeping, her eyes closed, her breathing even. I called softly, "Hey, why aren't you sleeping? You were sleeping so soundly just now." "Then why don't you rest a bit? You won't leave me alone." She laughed and joked, "That's it, rest a bit and then go back to your room. If you keep going like this, you probably won't be able to get down the mountain." After Tet, I found a stable job in the city, so I rarely went back to my hometown. Perhaps time had taken away her youth, and time had also changed her and me. Our feelings were no longer as passionate and faithful as before. The secret between us had become a thing of the past. Ladies and gentlemen, our story today will stop here. If you find this story interesting, don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment about your thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next interesting stories. See you in the next videos. Wish you a wonderful day.